The Bernina gathering foot is ingenious. It allows you to skip over the sewing of the multiple rows and pulling all those threads. All you need to do if you want to gather a single layer, or we'll show you next how to gather this layer to a base fabric using this foot. It is all about adjusting your stitch length and your tension based on your fabric thickness. Now, this foot does have some limitations. We're talking about lightweight fabrics, maybe up to a linen weight. That's usually what I tell my customers, that you don't want to be doing heavy home deck fabric. Save that for a ruffler. So the gathering foot, as you place your fabric underneath the foot for a single layer, is just go ahead and watch it stitch. You'll see that there's a little bounce to the fabric behind the foot, not much gather, but watch as we make the stitch length as long as possible. Look at the difference. Just doing the work for you here. What if we increase the tension, so we're increasing the top tension to its maximum setting. Look at how much more it will gather. I have been known to put my index finger behind the foot and kind of stifle its travel out the back, making it kind of pile up even more. So if you have some fabrics that are having a little trouble gathering, you can help it along here. Now do a sample piece or two, and that way you will know if your fabric ratio is going to work for your project. So if you're trying to get something to ease into, say, a bodice, you're going to find yourself wanting to kind of get this down to a manageable size. Isn't that gorgeous? You can see that we did lightweight gathers, we increased the stitch length, and then we increased the tension as well as the stitch length and got even more. And notice this hem. I've actually used the hemmer foot, which was last month's foot of the month, and you can watch our YouTube video on how to do this. Hem your projects ahead of time when possible. That way you're not trying to uncurl this and try to make the hem be added on. So I always like to think ahead. Could I save myself an extra spot? Measure this down, see if this will work, and then you'll know what ratio that you can do. Of course, you can do a happy medium with a stitch length not as long or a tension not as tight. This time, I'm going to use the gathering foot to gather one piece of fabric to a base fabric that is not gathered. So we're going to start off by placing the fabric we're gathering underneath the foot. We've also returned our stitch length back to a normal stitch length and tension back to normal. Then you can adjust from there as you see fit. Now the piece you don't want gathered is going to go into this little bill. The foot has a little mouth on it that we're going to slide this in. It's also going to have a place over here on the side to help keep it nice and even. Again, you're going to want to test it out and see how your ratio is for gathering. And see what kind of ruffles you're getting. Ooh, isn't that pretty? And you can see by the amount of fabric I have left, I have about a 2-to-1 ratio here. Wouldn't that be so easy to add to a little girl's dress, any embellishments, home deck items, make it easy to do curtains or dust ruffles. You can also take a piece of bias cut fabric and actually gather down the center. That means that these are not going to unravel as you use it and can be used for any type of embellishment. We'll just kind of stitch and see what kind of ratio we're getting. See how it just does the work for you? Now take those bias strips and add it to something fun. Add it to a home deck pillow or to the quilt behind me, which is called Very Girly and is available at Heirloom Creations. I even just added it to this quilt, just straight across on the rows, just to add a little pizzazz. So a gathering foot is something that you've got to have in your stash for your sewing machine. So come on by, we have all types for all different brands of sewing machines.